The vast expanse of space stretched out before the Zarkonian scout ship. Captain Selthor stood on the bridge, his 4 eyes scanning the holographic displays. His antenna twitched with excitement as the ship approached a new solar system. "Captain, we're picking up signals from the third planet," reported Vix, the communications officer. Her scales shimmered under the soft blue lights of the control panel. Zelthor nodded, his mandibles clicking softly. "Put it on screen." The main viewer flickered to life, showing a blue and green planet wrapped in swirling white clouds. The Zarkonians watched in silence as the planet's single moon orbited slowly around it. "Life signs?" Selthor asked, turning to his science officer. Zara, a tall, slender alien with translucent skin, bent over her console. "Confirmed, Captain. The planet is teeming with life. And," she paused, her eyes widening, "there's intelligent life. A developing civilization." Excitement rippled through the crew. Discovering new life forms was always thrilling, but finding an entire civilization was rare. "What can you tell me about them?" Selthor asked, leaning forward in his command chair. Zara's fingers danced over her console. "They call themselves humans, and their planet Earth. They're bipedal mammals, still in the early stages of technological development. They've only recently begun exploring their own solar system." Vix chimed in, "Captain, I'm intercepting their communications. They have a global information network. It's primitive, but impressive for their level of technology." Zelthor nodded thoughtfully. "Any signs that they've detected us?" "Negative, Captain," Zara replied. "Their sensors are not advanced enough to detect our presence." The captain stood up, his exoskeleton creaking slightly. He paced the bridge, considering their next move. The Zarkonian Empire had strict protocols for first contact situations, but this was different. Earth was in a strategic location, and its resources could be valuable to the Empire. "Prepare a full report," Selthor ordered. "We'll transmit it to High Command immediately." As the crew bustled about, gathering data and compiling their findings, Selthor couldn't shake off a strange feeling. There was something about this planet, something he couldn't quite put his claw on. He shrugged it off. Soon, the Empire would decide Earth's fate. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. In the grand halls of the Imperial Palace on Zarkon Prime, Emperor Vexlar received the report from the scout ship. His advisors gathered around, their faces illuminated by the holographic display of Earth. "Fascinating," the Emperor mused, his voice a low rumble. "A young species, ripe for integration into our glorious empire." Grand Admiral Kraz, a battle-scarred veteran, stepped forward. "Your Majesty, with your permission, I can have a fleet ready within days. We can bring these humans into the fold swiftly and efficiently." The Emperor raised a hand, silencing the Admiral. "Patience, Kraz. We must approach this delicately. Chief Scientist Lyra, what is your assessment?" A small, hunched figure hobbled forward. Lyra's large eyes blinked rapidly as she studied the data. "The humans show great potential, Your Majesty. Their rate of technological advancement is impressive. Given time, they could become valuable assets to the Empire." Emperor Vexlar nodded slowly, his crown glinting in the soft light. "Then it is decided. We shall extend our benevolent hand to Earth. They will join the Zarkonian Empire, whether they wish to or not." The room filled with murmurs of agreement. Plans were quickly set in motion. Ships were prepared, diplomats briefed, and soldiers readied. The Zarkonian Empire was about to welcome its newest member. As the meeting adjourned, Emperor Vexlar remained in his throne room, gazing at the holographic image of Earth. A smile played on his alien features. Soon, very soon, that little blue planet would be just another jewel in his vast cosmic crown. Little did the Zarkonians know that their carefully laid plans were about to encounter an obstacle unlike anything they had ever faced before. Earth, it seemed, had surprises in store for its would-be conquerors. The stage was set. The players were moving into position. And somewhere on that distant blue marble, Humanity was about to face its greatest challenge and reveal its greatest strength. The Zarkonian flagship Cosmic Fist emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system. Admiral Kraz stood on the bridge, his scared face reflected in the viewscreen. Behind him, a fleet of 100 ships waited for his command. "Status report," Kraz barked. "All systems nominal." "Admiral," replied his second-in-command, Commander Orcs, "we are approaching the third planet as planned." Kraz nodded, his eyes fixed on the blue marble growing larger on the screen. "Prepare the diplomatic team. Let's show these humans the glory of the Zarkonian Empire." As the fleet moved closer to Earth, excitement buzzed through the ships. Some crew members imagined the riches they'd find on this new world. Others wondered what the humans would look like up close. Suddenly, alarms blared across the bridge. Red lights flashed, bathing everything in an eerie glow. "What's happening?" Kraz demanded, gripping his command chair. Commander X frantically worked her console. "Unknown, sir. We're detecting a massive energy spike directly ahead." Before anyone could react, a shimmering wall of light appeared in front of the fleet. It stretched as far as they could see, encircling the entire solar system. "Full stop," Kraz roared. But it was too late. The lead ships slammed into the barrier. They didn't explode or break apart. Instead, they simply stopped, as if they'd hit a solid wall. Kraz stared in disbelief. In all his years of conquest, he'd never seen anything like this. "What is that thing?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. "It appears to be some kind of energy shield," Admiral X reported. "It's unlike anything in our database." On Earth, the situation was equally chaotic. In the headquarters of the Global Defense Initiative, alarms were going off everywhere. General Sarah Chen rushed into the control room. "Someone tell me what's going on," she shouted over the noise. A young technician looked up from his screen, his face pale. "Ma'am, you're not going to believe this. We've detected a large group of... Spit it out, soldier." "Spaceships, ma'am. A whole fleet of them. They just appeared at the edge of our solar system." The room fell silent. Chen's mind raced. This was the moment they'd both hoped for and dreaded. Humanity was not alone in the universe. And now, it seemed, first contact was upon them. "Where are they now?" she asked, her voice steadied despite her racing heart. Another technician spoke up. "That's the strange part, General. They're just sitting there, right at the edge of the system. It's like they've hit a wall or something." Chen frowned. "A wall? In space? That's impossible." Just then, Dr. Amit Patel, the lead scientist, burst into the room. "General, you need to see this." He pulled up a holographic display of the solar system. Everyone gasped. A faint shimmering bubble surrounded the entire system, with the alien fleet clustered at one edge. "What are we looking at, Doctor?" Chen asked. Patel shook his head in wonder. "I don't know. It just appeared out of nowhere. Some kind of energy barrier, and it's keeping the aliens out." As the humans tried to make sense of this cosmic miracle, back on the Zarkonian fleet, Admiral Kraz was losing his patience. "I want answers," he roared. "How do we get through this barrier?" The science team worked frantically, running test after test, but nothing they tried could penetrate or even explain the mysterious shield. Commander X approached Kraz cautiously. "Sir, I think we need to consider the possibility that the humans are more advanced than we thought. This barrier, it must be their doing." Kraz scoffed. "Impossible. Our reports clearly showed they were a primitive species." "Then how do you explain this?" X gestured at the view screen, where the impenetrable barrier shimmered mockingly. For once, the great Admiral Kraz had no answer. As both sides grappled with this unexpected turn of events, the barrier stood firm, a silent guardian protecting Earth from the stars. The galaxy watched and waited, wondering what would happen next in this cosmic standoff. The humans had unknowingly thrown down the gauntlet. "No entry allowed," the barrier seemed to say. And for now, at least, the mighty Zarkonian Empire was powerless to argue. Days turned into weeks as both the Zarkonian Empire and Earth grappled with the mysterious barrier surrounding the solar system. On the Zarkonian flagship, Cosmic Fist, Admiral Kraz paced the bridge, his patience wearing thin. Any progress? He growled at the team of scientists huddled around their instruments. Chief Scientist Zilva looked up, her compound eyes blinking rapidly. "We've tried everything, Admiral. Energy weapons, matter-antimatter reactions, even our most advanced phase shift technology. Nothing penetrates the barrier." Kraz slammed his fist on a nearby console. Impossible. No primitive species could create such a defense. Meanwhile, on Earth, the Global Defense Initiative was facing its own challenges. In a secure underground facility, General Sarah Chen stared at the holographic display of the barrier, her brow furrowed in concentration. "Dr. Patel, what have we learned?" she asked. The scientist adjusted his glasses nervously. "Well, General, that's the thing. We didn't create this barrier. It just appeared." Chen's head snapped up. "What do you mean, appeared? Something must have caused it." "That's what we're trying to figure out," Patel explained. "The barrier seems to be made of some kind of energy we've never encountered before. It's not electromagnetic, not gravitational. It's something else entirely." As both sides struggled to understand the nature of the barrier, strange phenomena began to occur around the world. In a small town in Nebraska, farmers reported their crops growing at impossible speeds. In Tokyo, people claimed to see ghostly figures walking through walls. And in the Amazon rainforest, previously undiscovered species of plants and animals were suddenly appearing. Back on the Zarkonian fleet, a junior scientist named Vex made a startling discovery. "Admiral," she called out, her voice trembling with excitement. "I've detected a pattern in the barrier's energy fluctuations." Kraz hurried over, hope glimmering in his eyes. "Explain." Vex pulled up a complex graph on her screen. "The barrier's energy signature, it's somehow connected to the human's brainwaves. It's as if their collective consciousness is powering the shield." The revelation sent shockwaves through the Zarkonian fleet. How could a species they had dismissed as primitive possess such incredible psychic potential? On Earth, similar discoveries were being made. Dr. Emily Wong, a brilliant neuroscientist, burst into General Chen's office, clutching a tablet. "General, you need to see this," she said breathlessly. "We've been monitoring global brain activity patterns, and there's a clear correlation with the barrier's energy fluctuations." Chen leaned forward, intrigued. "Are you saying we're controlling the barrier?" "Not consciously," Wong explained, "but somehow our collective mental energy is fueling it. It's like the planet itself is protecting us." As word of these discoveries spread, reactions varied across Earth. Some saw it as a miracle, a sign of divine protection. Others feared it was the prelude to an alien invasion. Governments struggled to maintain order as conspiracy theories ran wild. In secret labs around the world, scientists worked tirelessly to understand and harness this newfound power. Some volunteers reported developing strange abilities: telekinesis, telepathy, even glimpses of the future. Admiral Kraz, desperate for a breakthrough, ordered his ships to launch a coordinated attack on the barrier. Thousands of energy beams struck the shimmering wall simultaneously. For a moment, it seemed to work. The barrier flickered, its glow dimming. But then, as if responding to the threat, it pulsed with renewed strength. The backlash sent the Zarkonian ships tumbling backward, their systems temporarily overloaded. On Earth, millions of people reported simultaneous headaches and nosebleeds. It was as if the entire human race had instinctively rallied to reinforce their cosmic shield. As the dust settled, both sides were left with more questions than answers. The Zarkonians, once confident in their superiority, now faced an enemy they couldn't understand or overcome. And humanity, suddenly gifted with unimaginable power, struggled with the implications of their new reality. The barrier stood firm, a testament to the untapped potential of the human mind. But as Earth and the Zarkonian Empire warily watched each other across the cosmic divide, one question loomed large. What would happen when humanity fully awakened to its newfound abilities? The stage was set for a confrontation that would reshape the galaxy. And at the center of it all, Earth glowed with a power that defied explanation, a beacon of mystery in the vast expanse of space. As the standoff between Earth and the Zarkonian Empire entered its second month, strange occurrences on Earth intensified. In a small apartment in New York City, Sarah Rodriguez woke up to find her furniture floating. In rural China, farmer Lai Wei discovered he could make seeds grow into full plants with just a touch. And in a lab in Sydney, Dr. James Cooper accidentally teleported himself across the room. These incidents, once dismissed as hoaxes or flukes, were becoming impossible to ignore. The world was changing, and humanity was at the center of it all. At the Global Defense Initiative headquarters, General Sarah Chen called an emergency meeting. Scientists, military leaders, and government officials from around the world gathered in a secure conference room. "Ladies and gentlemen," Chen began, her voice grave, "we're facing an unprecedented situation. Not only are we under potential threat from an alien empire, but our own species seems to be evolving at an alarming rate." Dr. Emily Wong stepped forward, her holographic display showing a map of global psychic activity. "Our latest research confirms it. The barrier isn't just protecting us, it's changing us. The energy field is somehow unlocking dormant abilities in our brains." A murmur ran through the room. An elderly man in a lab coat raised his hand. "Are you saying we're all going to develop superpowers?" Wong shook her head. "Not exactly, Dr. Hoffman. The abilities manifest differently in each individual. Some people might develop telekinesis, others telepathy. Some may not show any visible changes at all. But one thing is clear: our collective psychic potential is growing exponentially." Meanwhile, aboard the Zarkonian flagship, Admiral Kraz was facing a mutiny. Several of his officers, frustrated with the lack of progress, were demanding they abandon the mission and return home. "We've wasted enough time on these humans," shouted Commander Wex. "They're more powerful than we anticipated. We should retreat and regroup." Kraz's eyes narrowed. In one swift motion, he drew his plasma pistol and fired, leaving a smoking hole in the wall inches from Ex's head. The room fell silent. "We are the Zarkonian Empire," Kraz growled. "We do not retreat. We do not surrender. We will find a way through this barrier, and we will claim Earth for our own." As tensions rose on both sides of the barrier, a breakthrough came from an unexpected source. In a small town in Brazil, a young girl named Maria discovered she could mentally touch the energy field surrounding Earth. With practice, she found she could manipulate it, creating small openings. Word of Maria's ability spread quickly. Soon, she was whisked away to a secret facility where scientists and military personnel eagerly studied her gift. "If we can replicate what Maria does," Dr. Wong explained to General Chen, "we might be able to control the barrier. We could open it selectively, or even expand it to protect our colonies on Mars and the Moon." But as humanity explored its newfound abilities, ethical concerns arose. Some feared these powers would be weaponized, leading to a new arms race. Others worried about the societal implications of a population with vastly different capabilities. In response, the United Nations hastily convened to draft the Psychic Potential Accords, a set of guidelines for the responsible use and development of these new abilities. Back in space, the Zarkonians made a chilling discovery. Chief Scientist Zilva burst onto the bridge, her normally calm demeanor shattered. "Admiral," she gasped, "we've detected energy signatures similar to the Earth barrier on other planets we've conquered." Kraz frowned. "What are you saying?" "The inhabitants of those worlds. They might have had the same potential as the humans, but we subjugated them before they could awaken their abilities. The implication hung heavy in the air. Had the Zarkonian Empire been unknowingly suppressing the psychic evolution of countless species across the galaxy? As both humanity and the Zarkonians grappled with these revelations, the barrier around Earth pulsed with renewed energy. It was as if the planet itself was coming alive, awakening to its role in the cosmic drama. In homes, schools, and laboratories across the globe, humans of all ages began to explore their new potential. Children levitated toys with their minds, healers mended wounds with a touch, and scientists unraveled the mysteries of the universe through newfound cosmic awareness. The dawn of a new era had arrived. Humanity stood on the brink of a transformation that would reshape not just their world, but their understanding of their place in the universe. And as the Zarkonian fleet watched helplessly from beyond the barrier, one thing became clear: the galaxy would never be the same again. As Earth continued to awaken to its newfound abilities, the Zarkonian Empire grew increasingly desperate. Admiral Kraz, his patience worn thin, decided on a bold and dangerous plan. "Prepare the cosmic nullifier," he ordered, his voice echoing across the bridge of his flagship. Commander Ix's eyes widened in shock. "But sir, that weapon is untested. It could destroy the entire solar system." Kraz's face hardened. Better to destroy this system than let its power spread across the galaxy. Prepare the weapon. As the Zarkonians readied their doomsday device, Earth's leaders gathered for an emergency summit. Representatives from every nation met in a heavily guarded conference center in Geneva. General Chen took the podium, her face grim. "We've intercepted communications from the alien fleet. They're preparing to use a weapon of unimaginable power against us. We need to decide on our response. And fast." The room erupted into chaos. Some leaders called for an immediate counterattack, while others pleaded for attempts at peaceful communication. Amidst the arguing, a quiet voice spoke up. It was Maria, the young Brazilian girl who could manipulate the barrier. "What if we talk to them?" she suggested. "Not with words, but with our minds." The room fell silent. Dr. Wong, who had been working closely with Maria, stepped forward. "It's possible. With Maria's connection to the barrier and our growing psychic abilities, we might be able to project a message directly to the alien fleet." After heated debate, the world leaders agreed to try this unconventional approach. They had nothing to lose. In a specially prepared chamber, Maria sat surrounded by the most powerful psychics Earth had to offer. Together, they focused their minds, reaching out across the vastness of space. Aboard the Zarkonian flagship, Admiral Kraz was startled by a sudden voice in his head. It wasn't words exactly, but a flood of images and emotions. He saw Earth's history, its struggles and triumphs. He felt the fear and wonder of humanity as they faced the unknown. And he understood their message. "We are not your enemies. We seek peace, but we will defend our home." For a moment, Kraz hesitated, but years of imperial conditioning won out. "It's a trick," he roared. "Fire the cosmic nullifier." The massive weapon powered up, its energy building to apocalyptic levels. But just as it was about to fire, something extraordinary happened. All across Earth, people felt a call. Without knowing why, millions stepped outside and looked up at the sky. As one, they raised their hands, their minds joining in a collective effort unlike anything the universe had ever seen. The barrier around Earth pulsed, growing brighter and stronger. It expanded, pushing outward into space. The Zarkonian fleet found itself being slowly but inexorably pushed back. On the flagship's bridge, alarms blared. "The nullifier is overloading," Ix shouted. "The energy from Earth is too strong." Kraz watched in disbelief as his mighty weapon sputtered and died, overwhelmed by the psychic energy emanating from the small blue planet. As the barrier continued to expand, the Zarkonian ships were forced further and further back. Some captains, seeing the futility of their mission, broke ranks and flowed into deep space. Finally, Admiral Kraz made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. "All ships, retreat," he commanded, his voice heavy with defeat. We cannot win this battle. As the Zarkonian fleet turned and disappeared into hyperspace, cheers erupted across Earth. Strangers hugged in the streets, tears of joy and relief flowing freely. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged victorious. In the aftermath, Earth's leaders reconvened. The question now was, what next? They had demonstrated their power to the galaxy, but at what cost? The barrier remained, protecting them, but also isolating them from the cosmic community. General Chen addressed the assembly. We've won a great victory today, but our journey is just beginning. We have a responsibility now, not just to Earth, but to the galaxy. We must learn to use our abilities wisely. As the sun set on this historic day, Earth stood at a crossroads. They had kept the Zarkonian Empire at bay, declaring to the stars, no entry allowed. But for how long? And at what cost to their own destiny among the stars? The galaxy watched and waited, wondering what this young but powerful race would do next. The age of Earth had begun, and the universe would never be the same. 5 years had passed since the Zarkonian Empire's retreat, and Earth had undergone a remarkable transformation. The planet buzzed with new energy as humanity explored and developed its psychic potential. In New Delhi, a group of children played in a park, their laughter filling the air as they levitated colorful balls with their minds. In Rio de Janeiro, healers worked in hospitals, using their newfound abilities to cure diseases once thought incurable. And in a research facility in Antarctica, scientists communicated telepathically with whales, unlocking secrets of the ocean depths. Dr. Emily Wong stood before a holographic display in the Global Psychic Research Center, her face glowing with excitement. "General Chen, you need to see this," she said as the leader of Earth's defense forces entered the room. Chen, her hair now streaked with gray, studied the complex patterns on the screen. "What am I looking at, Doctor?" "This," Wong replied, "is the current state of Earth's psychic field. We've managed to stabilize and strengthen the barrier, but more importantly, we're starting to understand how to manipulate it." Chen raised an eyebrow. "Manipulate it how?" Wong grinned. "Watch this." She closed her eyes, concentrating hard. Suddenly, a small portion of the holographic barrier flickered and opened, creating a window to the space beyond. Chen's eyes widened. "You can open the barrier at will." "Not just me," Wong explained. "We've been training a special team. With enough focus, we can create controlled openings anywhere around the planet." This breakthrough brought both excitement and concern to Earth's leaders. The ability to selectively open the barrier meant they could potentially explore space without leaving themselves vulnerable. But it also raised questions about whether they should end their isolation. Meanwhile, far across the galaxy, Admiral Kraz stood trial before the Zarkonian High Council. The loss at Earth had shaken the Empire to its core. "You failed to conquer a primitive world," the High Chancellor boomed, his voice echoing in the vast chamber. "Worse, you've exposed our weakness to the galaxy." Kraz stood tall, his eyes defiant. "With all due respect, Chancellor, Earth is far from primitive. Their psychic abilities surpass anything we've encountered. We need to rethink our approach to expansion." His words caused a stir among the council members. For centuries, the Zarkonian Empire had relied on its technological superiority. The idea that there might be other forms of power in the universe was unsettling. Back on Earth, humanity's evolution continued at a rapid pace. The integration of psychic abilities into daily life led to revolutionary changes in technology, medicine, and social structures. In a classroom in Tokyo, a teacher instructed her students in the art of psychic shielding. "Remember," she said gently, "your mind is your strongest asset. Learn to protect it, and you protect yourself." Across the globe in San Francisco, engineers at a tech company demonstrated their latest invention, a device that amplified psychic signals, allowing for instantaneous communication across vast distances. But as humanity grew more powerful, new challenges emerged. Some individuals, drunk on their newfound abilities, used them for personal gain, or to harm others. Governments scrambled to create new laws and ethical guidelines for the use of psychic powers. In response to these challenges, a group of the most powerful and enlightened psychics formed the Psychic High Council. Their mission was to guide humanity's growth and prevent the misuse of these incredible abilities. Maria, now a young woman, addressed the first meeting of the council. "We have been given a great gift," she said, her voice resonating with wisdom beyond her years. "But with it comes great responsibility. We must use our powers not just for the benefit of Earth, but for the good of the entire galaxy." As Earth continued to evolve, ripples of its transformation spread across the cosmos. Other worlds, inspired by Earth's stand against the Zarkonian Empire, began to explore their own latent psychic potential. The galaxy was changing, and Earth was at the center of it all. The barrier that had once been a shield of isolation was becoming a beacon of hope and possibility. In her office overlooking the bustling streets of the new global capital, General Chen looked out at the world she had helped to defend and shape. She couldn't help but wonder, was Earth ready to lower its barriers and step onto the galactic stage? The answer to that question would determine not just the fate of humanity, but the future of the entire galaxy. As the sun set on another day of wonders, Earth stood on the brink of a new era, one filled with both incredible promise and daunting challenges. 10 years had passed since Earth first raised its psychic barrier against the Zarkonian Empire. The planet had flourished in its isolation, but the time had come to make a decision that would shape the future of humanity and the galaxy. In the Grand Assembly Hall of the United Earth Government in New Geneva, representatives from every nation gathered. The air buzzed with anticipation and nervous energy. Today, they would vote on whether to lower the barrier and rejoin the galactic community. General Sarah Chen, now Earth's Secretary of Cosmic Affairs, took the podium. Her face, lined with the wisdom of years, was broadcast on screens worldwide. "Fellow citizens of Earth," she began, her voice steady and clear, "for a decade, we have lived behind our protective shield. We have grown, learned, and evolved, but we cannot hide forever. The universe awaits, and it is time for us to take our place among the stars." The debate that followed was intense. Some argued for continued isolation, fearing the threats that lurked in the cosmos. Others pushed for immediate engagement, eager to explore and expand. As the arguments heated up, a familiar face stepped forward. It was Maria, once a young girl who could touch the barrier, now a respected leader of the Psychic High Council. "Friends," she said, her voice calm but powerful, "I have seen glimpses of possible futures. In isolation, we stagnate. But by engaging with the galaxy, we have the chance to grow, to learn, and to help others. We have been given these gifts not to hide, but to share." Her words swayed many minds. When the vote came, the decision was clear. Earth would lower its barriers and step onto the galactic stage. Preparations began immediately. Scientists worked tirelessly to adapt their technology for deep space travel. Diplomats trained in 1,000 alien languages and customs, and the most gifted psychics honed their abilities to communicate across the vast distances of space. Finally, the day arrived. In a ceremony watched by billions, Maria stood at the center of a vast psychic amplification array. With a deep breath, she reached out with her mind and began to lower the barrier that had protected Earth for so long. As the shield flickered and faded, humanity held its collective breath. What would they find in the galaxy beyond? The answer came sooner than anyone expected. As soon as the barrier dropped, a flood of transmissions poured in from across the stars. Many were messages of peace and friendship from worlds that had heard of Earth's stand against the Zarkonian Empire. Others were pleas for help from planets suffering under imperial rule. But the most surprising message came from the last place anyone expected: the Zarkonian homeworld itself. On screens across Earth, the face of a Zarkonian appeared. It was Admiral Kraz, older now, his once fierce eyes filled with a new wisdom. "People of Earth," he said, his translator conveying the sincerity in his voice, We come not as conquerors, but as seekers of knowledge. Your resistance to our empire opened our eyes to new possibilities. We have spent these years reforming our society, learning to develop our own latent psychic abilities. We humbly ask to learn from you, and to make amends for our past actions. The revelation stunned the world. The mighty Zarkonian Empire, once bent on conquest, was now seeking peaceful cooperation. In the months that followed, Earth became a hub of galactic activity. Diplomatic missions were launched to 100 worlds. Trade routes were established, cultural exchanges began, and a new era of cosmic cooperation dawned. Earth's psychics played a crucial role, using their abilities to bridge gaps in communication and understanding between vastly different species. The planet's unique blend of psychic power and technological innovation made it a natural leader in this new galactic order. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Some worlds, fearful of Earth's power, formed alliances against them. Criminal organizations sought to exploit the planet's resources and abilities, and deep in the unexplored regions of space, ancient and powerful beings stirred, awakened by the sudden burst of psychic energy from Earth. As General Chen looked out at the stars from the observation deck of Earth's first interstellar embassy, she reflected on the incredible journey that had brought them here. From a planet under siege to a beacon of hope for the galaxy, Earth had transformed itself and the cosmic order. We said, "No entry to the old ways of conquest and subjugation," she mused. "Now we open our arms to a future of cooperation and growth." The barrier that once blocked Earth from the galaxy had become a bridge, connecting worlds and species in ways never before imagined. As humanity took its first steps into this vast, unknown frontier, one thing was certain: the greatest adventures were yet to come. The story of Earth and its rise to cosmic prominence was just beginning, and the entire universe watched with bated breath to see what this young, gifted race would do next.